You're the same age you became writers when you go to school. This is my first grade picture. That's when I became a writer. I didn't have kindergarten. You started earlier than me because you had kindergarten then. But this is something I wrote in first grade. It says, Thanksgiving Day is here at last. November days have almost passed. Thanksgiving has food and meat. I take as much as I can eat. Judy, P.S. I love you. I wrote that for my parents. I kept writing and writing and writing, listening to my teachers teach me. And when I grew up, I got to write lots of books. And I have picture books, lots of different picture books, and a series of little books for kindergartners and first graders to learn to read for themselves, all the Digger and Daisy books. 4 of those Digger and Daisy books have been translated into both Spanish and French, so they're in 3 different languages, which is really cool. I also write poetry and nonfiction mix, which means they're both in one book, has poetry and nonfiction. And I also have 4 books about Missouri because I used to live near Springfield, Missouri. And about 5 years ago, I moved to Idaho, and that's where I live now. An idea from reading nonfiction, it might be some little tiny, tiny thing that an idea could grow from. And when I read nonfiction, a lot of times that happens. I'll be just reading something, all of a sudden I'll go, wow, that would make a good story. And then I start asking questions. And one of my favorite questions, and you guys can ask this question too, when you're writing, is what if? That's a great way to get a story started. And then I ask how would. That's my second favorite question. I'm constantly asking myself that to find my idea of my story. So I'll give you an example. The Lucky Star is set during the Great Depression. It's over here, yep. And it's set during the Great Depression. I wanted to write a book set during the Great Depression. And I knew my publisher was making a series of, not series really, but different books that were historical fiction. So they're set in a real time period. And they had not gotten one in their list of books that was set during the Great Depression. So I thought, wow, that'd be cool. My parents lived through the Great Depression. That'd be cool to write about something when they were kids. So I started researching. I didn't know what I was going to write about, but I read things. I read that 20,000 schools closed during the Depression. The Depression was a time period in the 1930s where the stock market crashed and lots of people didn't have any money. And they didn't have money for a lot of different things, and they lost their jobs when the stock market crashed. Companies went out of business, so people didn't have jobs, and then families didn't have money. And I read that 20,000 schools shut down across America because they didn't have enough money to keep the school buildings warm and lit and keep things going. So they shut the schools down for several years, and you wouldn't go to school. So you might think, wow, that'd be cool. You guys would have a 7th and 8th grade education. You wouldn't get to go to high school. You wouldn't get to go to college. You wouldn't get to do, if you want to be a doctor or a nurse or a teacher or an aerospace engineer, you wouldn't get to do any of those things because you only went to 7th or 8th grade. That wouldn't be all that great. And a lot of kids your age would have to just go get jobs and help support the family, and you'd never go back to school again because by the time they opened the schools, you'd be in your 20s. So forget it. That wouldn't be a lot of fun. Well, I thought, there's a story seed. Remember my question? What was my favorite question? What if there was a girl whose school was shut down and she wasn't going to get to go to 5th grade, is what my story is. And how would she end up helping other kids who were not going to get to go to school? So she ends up helping her little sister and helping them to learn how to read and write because they're not going to even get to go to 1st grade and learn this stuff. So that's where I got the idea for the Lucky Stars, just by reading about a time period.